Ladies and gents, I introduce to you Matei. Matei Mândruță is a student in the Netherlands. He studies computer science, and I want to know from him how it's like to study there, if it's better than its home country, and if this experience really gets you ready for a life fulfilled with a good education in the background and some new work ethics principles to derive from the Dutch culture, for instance. So let's start with how is it?
Well, in the terms of being better, it's not about being better. It's about the sacrifice we all make when we leave our country between our family and education and opportunity. You got to outweigh that and look at what makes sense for you. You want to have those opportunities, and you can sacrifice years of being alone, of being misunderstood, of frustration, and of seeing your people back home move in a direction and at a speed different from you.
All right. So you're feeling that you're diverging
Yeah,
from Romanian realities and from even your family's realities.
definitely.
Okay.
That is a divergence, and I think everybody feels it, especially in these times where political and economical situations are very shaky. I think you kind of lose sight of what makes sense, because sometimes you believe, yeah, I need to stay here in the Netherlands. I want to be here. I want to educate myself. I want to work here and be in a community. And you can find a community, but it's not to the depth you would want to have. And it's very hard to reach that depth. And in the Dutch culture, I believe it's next to impossible to reach that.
So you can't integrate.
Fully in Dutch culture, no. I think it's impossible.
All right. What is the plan then?
Studying, working, gaining experience, and if back home there are suitable situations, I would want to go back home. If not, switch the country and try again another culture, and that might work.
So you feel like you're becoming an international citizen with this kind of education you get?
In terms of international citizen, I don't believe that's only reserved for the upper class. I don't think you can
Okay.
be an international citizen.
So you'll always be Romanian.
Yeah, always be Romanian. International citizens,
Okay, you might always be Romanian for the other guys,
yeah.
but are you going to be always Romanian for yourself? Or do you feel like your identity is changing towards a more multicultural, maybe globalist perspective?
Personally, my identity was never linked to being Romanian. I don't think that's a healthy way of looking at things. I always linked my identity to me and my family, and my family being Romanian, thus I will be Romanian as well. But at the same time, my views have changed a lot and have gotten to a point in which it's really hard to understand how backwards things are in your country, and it's very hard to give leeway and give have enough understanding with your fellow countrymen. Yeah, so you just want to give up. You just want to stay there and don't touch it.
So you're disappointed with your country.
Yeah, and I think most of us who get there, depending, it doesn't matter from what country you are from, you're disappointed with what you have back home. That's always the common denominator.
Okay, now let's go back to school. What was the hardest thing that happened in the first year of school, and what was the most pleasant discovery or surprise or experience?
School definitely wasn't that hard as expected because of the things we were studying. That wasn't the problem. and the way they present it, it's at a high pace, but if you keep on it, you'll be okay with it. It's mostly about actually being comfortable and putting in that work and being comfortable in that social situation and being present. That makes the difference, because if you lose track even for a couple of weeks or even for a couple of days, it's very hard to get back on the wagon. The pace is very different from other education systems, considering it's built in sort of sprints, not long winding paths.
Okay. So this was hard, keeping the pace.
Yeah.
What was nice?
Definitely the respect. In different cultures, when you go to a university, the professor demands respect without giving it. This is the other way around. Professor gives you respect and they then demand it. And they don't demand it. Sometimes you just want to do it. It makes sense, it's natural, it's normal. And how they treat you as people of the same stature, of the same class, I would say. They don't have that elitism of being somebody that is better than you.
Coming from Eastern Europe, did you feel like there was a cultural divide or some cultural, bridges that you couldn't just cross?
Definitely the way Dutch people approach family and the way they approach relationships. It's very methodical, it's very rigid, and not based necessarily on what they feel. I don't think they feel a lot, or they extra rationalize every feeling they have. To be honest, that might be quite a stereotype, because the way Dutch culture is built, you rarely interact with Dutch people in a casual setting. It's always formal, and it's very hard to make Dutch friends because they don't hang around at the same spots. They're not in the same places. It's very hard to interact with them, especially in a multicultural city like Amsterdam.
So basically, what you're saying is that you're not in the Netherlands. You're in an international community that happens to be geographically situated there.
Yeah, definitely. This changes depending on the city. I've heard in other cities it's different, but the constant, even in smaller cities that you would say they are more Dutch and you will need to integrate more because it's not such a big international community, the constant is that you are just not going to be friends with Dutch people. And they don't want to be friends with you. And it's not a hate they have, because they tolerate you and they respect you from a distance, but they're just not interested. They lack interest in other people.
Okay. Now, going back to school, getting around. What is your advice for people coming into the Netherlands to study? First weeks, first months, first year?
Definitely don't fall off the wagon. Go to every stuff. Keep putting in that work, even though you have like a bad week or something like that. You need to have a minimum input each day, just to be on the same page. Because if you lose that page, it's very hard to find the book. And besides that, I think it's really important to integrate yourself in the communities that are offered by the university. I'm talking about clubs, I'm talking about seminars with different people, going to a conference that is organized by the university. There are a lot of options and avenues you can follow that I think give a lot of value. It also depends, because there are also quite a lot of stuff that don't have that much value and just you're gonna waste your time and might be boring. So you need to be picky in that sense, but at least for the first couple of months, just go to them and then decide.
Okay, tips and tricks for living in the Netherlands.
Definitely biking makes sense everywhere, especially if you are lucky enough to find a place somewhat near the city center. Then everything is going to be much closer with the bike, versus any other mode of transportation. In terms of jobs, you can find jobs quite easily, and they pay well, but at the same time, you're gonna be expected to do stuff that Dutch people are not expected to do. So everybody that
What do you
works
mean?
so you're gonna work the lowest end of the job market. You're gonna be paid fairly, so there's not gonna be quite an exploitation, but you're gonna be the cashier, you're gonna be the uh, person that cleans after your parties, you're gonna be that person if you need that financial support.
Mhm.
And it can be difficult, but at least it's fair in somewhat of a sense.
Food?
Very bad. You need to learn to cook. I mean, even the options are so
Do you
expensive.
think it's bad because you have different taste, because you're coming from a more rich food culture like Romania, or is it bad in an absolute term? I mean, are the other guys complaining as well?
Yeah, definitely it's bad in an absolute term. Even the cuisine that is not representative of Dutch cuisine is worse than what you would find in different cities. There are only like the most nicest places in Amsterdam offer actual good food.
Okay.
So that's the situation.
I see. Shopping, clothing, daily expensive. How expensive is the Netherlands?
Expensive the Netherlands is definitely the most expensive country out of the big European places to go to, considering like Germany, France, England. In terms of shopping, I'm talking about daily stuff, shampoo, chips, everything is definitely more expensive and you're gonna feel it. At the same time, fruits and veggies are sometimes even cheaper than in different places because of the industry they developed around it. In terms of daily stuff, I think the most important expense you have is transportation if you live far away. If you don't have the opportunity to go by bike to your university, you're gonna feel that the most.
I think most people looking at studying in the Netherlands will want to know how hard it is to get lodging, to get a roof above your head. So what advice would you have for somebody that's trying to get there?
Definitely be proactive.
What do you mean?
I mean that even before you know you got in, you need to start looking for stuff. You need to talk with people there if you know people there. You need to find options because it's really hard to find something. The problem is almost always about finding something, not necessarily the price. The price is gonna be what the price is, and most of the times it's not gonna be. They're not gonna. They're not gonna screw you over that, even because sometimes it's quite illegal to do that, and they sometimes check it. And be wary of scams because when they happen, they're gonna scam you. There are a lot of people who do that. The most important thing is getting into every kind of student accommodation. Join the list, like I'm talking 2 years in advance for stuff like student accommodation. The lists are so long, you need to be in 2 or 3 years in advance. So if you are at the early stages of your thinking of moving to a different place, to the Netherlands, you need to actually do that now.
Will the college help you, and which are the faculty, the university? Are they going to help you, or you need to fend it off by yourself?
They're gonna help you for the first year, maybe. It depends a lot on the college, on the university, on whatever you're going to do, and how well you got into that spot. So sometimes they might have ranking based on your academic entry point.
Now, going back to school, how well do you think it gets you ready for the job market, and how prestigious is to come with a Dutch diploma in the global workforce?
I mean, it's definitely very modernly structured. So each subject I think for the most part is very applicable to the modern situation. Maybe it's a couple of years before actual present, but it's pretty much in line and in pace with the changes we're seeing right now. Even though the changes are quite big this time with AI and that stuff, but it really does prepare you in the sense that you can actually get practical experience. You can actually go. Some universities offer, depending on what you do, they offer internships provided by the university. They offer practicals. They offer that stuff that it's in the heart of Europe and it's actually competitive. And in terms of prestige, depending on the university, they are quite prestigious. So I'm talking about Delft, I'm talking about UVA, Erasmus Business School. There are quite a lot of universities that offer prestige that can rival the British universities.
Is it worth it? I mean, all the sacrifices that you told me you made, family-wise, being dislodged from your country and from your culture, would you say it's worth it?
For me, at this moment, yes, but this can change all the time. So it's not it's a process. It's a journey. Sometimes I might feel it's not worth it. Sometimes I feel it's worth it. So you can't really simmer it down to a specific catchphrase, to say the least.
What do you do when you're depressed in the Netherlands? Because I get it. The rain and the wind and the almost never changing season can get to you, especially if you're coming from a real country with real weather, as in normal weather. So what do you do then?
Well, most people either drink or smoke. That's what happens most of the time. But some things I enjoy doing are playing sports, and the sporting scene, I think it's way more developed than in Eastern Europe. You can do anything indoors. So
can you give us a few examples of sports that you can continue practicing while you're arriving in the Netherlands?
I mean, probably the most popular is football. They have a big football scene, but anywhere from basketball to hockey to table tennis, you can play at any spot. And they offer also some sports that have a Dutch twist, like rowing and that kind of aquatic sports that are really popular in the Netherlands.
Okay. Now, let's say you're thinking about moving to another country after going to the university in the Netherlands. What would be your first choices based on your experience and based on the job market in your field?
Well, in terms of job market, the States would be the first option. It's the biggest one and the most competitive and the highest paid. But due to recent changes in the political structure of the United States, I don't think that that's an option for most Europeans anymore. So we are left with France, Germany, and Britain. In terms of
going fully international, like going to exotic places where they still need computer science experts, let's say, I don't know, Dubai or India or China or other country that's developing. Is that something that people who go to school in the Netherlands tend to do?
I haven't seen any examples. Most of the people that go to the Netherlands really want to stay in Europe, so they really want to contribute into European society. From what I've seen, there are a couple of them that wanted to go to the States, but that's it. I haven't seen people really wanting to move out of Europe and the European system. I think we have taken it for granted many years, but we are slowly, maybe the younger part of Europe is slowly realizing that we should consider it more precious.
So you should cherish Europe.
Yeah.
As long as you still have it.
as long as you still have it, and make sure you still have it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.